Hey guys, hold on, let's fix the camera a little bit. Okay, so my computer is still down, which is why I have not posted any videos. So here we are with this weird vlog style camera. I hope that's okay because I felt compelled. I really wanted to start doing some kind of deeper videos again. I've reached a spot in my life where I'm very happy and I'm ready to talk about everything. Unfortunately, today's video is not going to be a happy, fun video. It's not going to be easy for me to make, and it's probably not going to be easy to watch. A lot of these type of videos of mine I end up not even watching because attractive. So attractive. Okay. Another thing that I never really addressed in some of my more serious videos is that sometimes I get weird about serious topics and I giggle or I make light of it, and I know I am in no way ever trying to make light of a serious situation. On your part, I may make light of it on mine because that's the way that I deal, but I'm never trying to say... The cats are not going to cooperate, I can tell. I'm not trying to say that this is a funny topic or that it's not to be taken seriously. Now my cat's trying to break in. This is life with cats. Okay, so let's get right into this video because this is going to get a little bit long, and yeah, this isn't going to be fun. Okay, so today's topic is going to be depression, suicidal thoughts, self-harm, breakups, that type of thing. I am going to get very into detail without going too far, if you get what I mean. But anyways, so this past December, I did do a few videos. Actually, this past October to, I'd say, like, March or April, I talked a few different times about how I was not in a good place. I had a breakup that really just shook my world. And there were a lot of other things going on kind of behind the scenes that I never talked about and may never talk about. I obviously don't put my entire life on here. I put a lot in anything that I think could reach out and help someone else. So I guess what it is I'm going to go more in depth with what a hard time I was having with depression and suicidal thoughts. Basically, I thought I was okay. Also, I'm going to say a lot in this video, and I can't use my editing software because I don't have my computer, so whatever I edit with this, it's probably going to look choppy, and I'm sorry. Okay, so... Cat breaking in. Hold on, let me let my cat in. I am in no way ever trying to make light of a serious situation. On your part, I may make light of it on mine because that's the way that I deal, but I'm never trying to say... The cats are not going to cooperate, I can tell. I'm not trying to say that this is a funny topic or that it's not to be taken seriously. Now my cat's trying to break in. This is life with cats. Okay, so let's get right into this video because this is going to get a little bit long, and yeah, this isn't going to be fun. Okay, so today's topic is going to be depression, suicidal thoughts, self-harm, breakups, that type of thing. I am going to get very into detail without going too far, if you get what I mean. But anyways, so this past December, I did do a few videos. Actually, this past October to, I'd say, like, March or April, I talked a few different times about how I was not in a good place. I had a breakup that really just shook my world. And there were a lot of other things going on kind of behind the scenes that I never talked about and may never talk about. I obviously don't put my entire life on here. I put a lot in anything that I think could reach out and help someone else. So I guess what it is I'm going to go more in depth with what a hard time I was having with depression and suicidal thoughts. Basically, I thought I was okay. Also, I'm going to say a lot in this video, and I can't use my editing software because I don't have my computer, so whatever I edit with this, it's probably going to look choppy, and I'm sorry. Okay, so... Cat breaking in. Hold on, let me let my cat in. The world does not want me to be serious today. Alas, we are going to be. So this past October, November, I think things were really setting in for me. I was in a state of shock. I was in a state of, this isn't going to change. My life isn't going to change. I'm not facing all these weird decisions and things aren't totally different, which they were. I just hadn't faced it yet. And it's like, once December hit and the holiday season was kind of in full swing, it started to really hit me and it started to really take a toll on me. Each Christmassy thing I did where I wasn't feeling Christmassy, which for those of you who don't know me personally, I'm a super holiday person, like Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, all of it. I go overboard on birthdays and that's just part of my personality. And this year I wasn't doing that. I wasn't feeling it. I was barely able to make it to all of the Christmases I went to and all the Christmas parties I went to. And I just was not feeling it. For lots of reasons, lots of things that were happening, both with the breakup and other things that were happening with other people and other things that were happening within my family and just a lot of things happening within me too. So there's just, it's not good enough that she's interrupted the video 8 times. Now she has to be up here. So if you see a cattail, I'm sorry. It's Paca. So I was in a really bad place. And basically, I got into an argument with someone, and the day after that was the day before Christmas Eve, so December 23rd, and that next day I just remember I woke up and I just felt just despair, just absolute despair. Everything was gone. I was losing this person that I had dated for so long, and I was losing my friend family, which I thought at that time I was losing them. Clearly I have not lost them. But I thought, I'm losing this. I'm losing my independence. I'm losing my apartment because around that time, I kind of realized I was going to have to move back in with my mom. Some other things fell through. And I just felt like losing all the way around. And it was just this huge shock, as if someone had taken my body and thrown me into ice cold water, that type of shock. It kind of all led up to December 23rd. December 22nd, I found out some information, not important. It was just kind of like the last straw that broke the camel's back, only the camel's back was my mind at this point. And before I go any further in the story, I do want to say something just as a disclaimer if somebody doesn't finish this video. This video is 300% me saying there is never a situation that can't be made better. There's never a situation where your only option is to feel like you have no options and to feel like you're not wanted here and to feel like, you get what I'm saying. I am living proof, literally, that things get better, that they're not forever awful. Even when you feel like you're losing everything, sometimes it just feels that way and you're really not. So I just want to get that out first. Cat, we're gonna tango. Okay, so on December 23rd, and on the screen somewhere, maybe here in front of my big old face, I don't know, I'm going to put up, I only posted twice on Facebook, which, again, if you know me personally, I kind of post a lot of stuff on there. I have mostly friends and family on there, so it's really just me talking to my friends, which is, what Facebook is supposed to be. So I'm going to put those up on the screen at some point. I only posted 2 things. I was trying to stay really positive. I didn't clue anyone in, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. I didn't leave something that said, hey, I need help. Hey, I'm overwhelmed. I'm in over my head. The only place that I was honest and true with my feelings was in my journal, which I opened up to that day. And I'm not going to read this because this is my journal and that's personal, but I do just want to glance at it. It's very, very hard to go back and try to understand how I was feeling then because I feel so differently now. And it's very important to note that I've also been going to therapy. I'm not just like doing this on my own. It didn't just like magically get better. I had to seek out help. I had to seek out someone to talk to. I'm really skirting the issue because I just don't know how to talk about this. So on December 23rd, I put in a journal entry about how I was feeling and that I felt like I had nobody and nobody would care, and the people in my life I was a burden on, and the world would just be better without me, which sounds very, very cliche and very teen angst, but when you're in that place, or at least for me when I was in that place, that's how I felt. I honestly felt in that moment, I don't feel that way now, like the whole world would just exist better if Jenni wasn't part of it. And yeah, so I didn't really reach out. I felt like I would be a burden if I reached out to someone. And the issue that I had within kind of my little friend group, we have a friends miss every year, and since we had a little issue, everyone was going to go see that person, and then it was this whole thing. So of course everyone was invited but me, which even when you know why, like when you're in that state of mind, and I think anyone, like, that still sucks. It's like, oh, you know, everyone's gonna go have a good time except for me, and that's silly. And I want to really emphasize that there's not one reason why this happened. There's not one argument or one thing that happened or one person or one situation. This was just a culmination of things happening at the wrong time for me. So I never want it to seem like I'm putting the blame on one situation or one person or anything like that, because there is no blame. This was me. This was something that was happening within me and, you know, to me. So that's important. But anyways, I was still living with my ex at the time, but he was out of the house because he was at that Christmas party. All of our friends were at the Christmas party. I was home alone. I went back through my text messages just to kind of glance through. I reached out mildly to one person, but not enough to let them know that really anything was that severely wrong. And then I made up my mind that I didn't need to be here, and I didn't want to be here. I didn't care anymore. I didn't want to try anymore. I was tired. You know, I just kept looking at it like, you know, your health's only going to get worse, and, you know, you're just going to be alone, and you're going to be miserable, and just the most negative thoughts you could ever imagine. Those were the thoughts that I was thinking and feeling. And in a moment of absolute weakness, I decided I was going to try to end my life. And yeah, it was the day before Christmas Eve, and I remember just thinking, I'm gonna ruin Christmas for my family. Like, I need to wait because I'm gonna ruin Christmas for my family. And then that little selfish part of you that always kind of speaks up in the back of your head was just like, you know, well, what do you care? You're done. It'll be fine. They'll get better. And I convinced myself that that was true, and that, you know, things would end up being better off anyways. And so I sat down and I wrote a note, not a very lengthy note. I wrote it. I still have it. It's sitting right in front of me. I've kind of debated on whether I was going to read it or just refer to it. It's almost embarrassing, but I don't want to, prolong that kind of stigma, because you should be able to talk about these things. This is what we need as people, is to be able to talk, but it's still not easy to talk at all. It took me a long time to tell one of my best friends that this even happened, because I was embarrassed. So there's that. I kind of decided I'm not going to read all of this because it's kind of, it's very personal. But I am going to kind of just skim it to give you an idea, again, where my head was at. And then I kind of want to talk about where I went. Kind of, this is my low. And then I kind of want to talk about journeying back to a good place. So this is going to be a lengthy video, I'm sorry, but it's a pretty important topic. So basically, This is so weird. I'm just talking about this like it's happened to someone else. Because sometimes when I talk about these things, it feels like this didn't happen to me. It feels like it happened to someone else, and I'm just relaying a story to you, just like when I tell my embarrassing stories. I think that's why sometimes, at least to myself, I come off a little weird on camera, like things didn't really upset me that much, or like I'm just telling a story. But I think it's because to be able to talk about it, somewhere in here it's like I am talking about someone else. So again, basically in my letter, I talk about wishing that I had used a more appropriate pen, because I used a purple pen, and I remember thinking that that was so silly to be worried about that, but I couldn't find a regular pen anywhere in the house. And I just remember crying about something so stupid and meaningless, but it's because I knew this wasn't the right thing. I knew this was wrong. I knew that there was another way. I go into saying sorry to my family and sorry for being weak. Everything's just piling up on my shoulders and I don't know what else to do. I'm so sorry. I love you all so much. Please don't be sad. Right. Can you imagine that? Please don't be sad. Like, yeah, okay. Okay, Jenny, we won't be sad. No. And this just makes me mad because I feel so selfish. In this moment, I was so selfish. Please just remember me as I was when I was happy. I wish I had told you all how much I love you while you were here. Or I guess I should have put while I was here, but I'm still here. Everyone's here. Good. This just feels so like, where I feel like I'm being strangled with stress, and I deal with a lot of anxiety, and I'm not going to get into it on here because everybody likes to argue about it. Okay, so I just ran out of room on my camera and had to go move some things around in my phone real quick. No idea where I was at, but we're going to talk about the ending of that night, and then we're going to talk about going back up, happier things. So basically, I wrote out that note. I decided to go with 2 methods of trying to take my life. I tried to physically harm myself, and that's as far as I'm going to discuss that, just because it's not necessary. And in the second method, when I realized that I could not do the first method, I took like a box of NyQuil pills, and I think it had about 12 in there, and I took all 12. And I just remember laying in bed and just waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and feeling like it was never going to kick in. I'm never going to feel drowsy. You know, I just want this to be done. And in that time, I had time to realize, you know, this is scary. Like, is this really what was necessary? And I just remember the hours ticking by. And I just kept thinking, you know, nobody's even going to come home. Nobody's even going to find me. And you know that state where you're asleep but you're still alert? I just remember listening and listening and listening and hearing nobody ever come home, and just thinking, you know, this is it. Nobody cares about me. And the next morning I woke up, and I think it just like hit me. A, it was Christmas Eve and I had stuff I had to do that day. B, I don't know. It was just this surreal, weird feeling when you lay down and you think that's it, and then you wake up the next morning. It's weird. It's a good thing. It's a very, very good thing. Now a lot of people, or not a lot of people, a few people have said, you know, oh, you weren't really trying, or you would have taken more than 12. This is what I had access to, and I was scared, and thank God I was scared, because that kept me from doing something that could have actually taken my life. What I can tell you is that I woke up with a mean hangover the next day. I felt terrible. I woke up super late. Obviously, I slept forever, and I felt pretty ridiculous. You know, also what a lot of people, I guess, I think either don't think about, don't care about, don't realize, I don't know, when you're someone who self-harms and you put a mark on your body, you're stuck with that. Like, it's not going anywhere. I will forever have the scars of that night as well as other nights, and that's something that I have to look at and remember. And a big thing that I've talked about, I believe before when I talked about my tattoos, was this phoenix tattoo, which I did get colored in, guys, and we'll talk more about that in a different video. But this is the beginning of covering all of those scars, and that's why it's a phoenix, because they rise from their ashes, and da-da-da-da. But that next day, I realized that I seriously needed some help, and I was losing my damn mind, and everything felt like it was imploding around me, and I just couldn't do it anymore. So within the next few weeks, I broke down and told my family what had happened. I told some friends, and I got myself, well, I didn't get myself, by the help of my family, I got into therapy, and it took a few months before, well, that's not true. My first session, I felt better, but it's like this much on a mountain that's like this, you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, I did instantly feel so much weight lifted, but there was so much weight to lift. So I'd say about a month and a half, and I went every week for 4 weeks, and then I started going every 2 weeks, and now I go monthly. So I would say within that first month and a half, about 5 sessions. Oh, my phone is making me so mad. Okay. Anyways, I felt enormously better, and here I am. I started in, I want to say, the beginning of February, maybe even the end of January, and it is the very beginning of August, and I feel fantastic. I know that there's always, between my phone and the cat, I know that there's always room for improvement of every sort. I know that I'm going to have bad days. I'm going to have days where I revert to feeling that way, and I'm going to have days where I'm depressed. But on an overall scale, I'm happy when I wake up. I'm happy when I go to work. I'm happy, my nose itches, sorry guys. I'm happy when I sit down to film. I'm happy when I sit down to write. Just everything has just come just full circle for me. I've gotten 300% better. My life feels like it's headed in a direction that I'm proud of, and it's not because I just sat there and wished and hoped it would get better. It's because I woke myself up and I said, look, these are your options. Like, you can either go down this road and you can hurt the people that you love and care about the most, and you can just give up and be like, whoop, that's it. At, 23 years, how old am I? I'll be 24. So at like that point, 22, 23 years of life, just that's it. And, I decided that's not what I want. That's not how I want to be remembered. That's not, my legacy on this world. That's not enough for me. So I think that every single person in the world needs to look at it that way. And I know that's hard to do coming from someone who's been in that moment. And I'm not even trying to say like what happened to me was as traumatic as anybody else's life. This is just how it felt to me, and because it was me and my situation, it felt like the end of the world. And all kidding and all jokes and all smiles aside, it felt like that was my only option. And I want to talk to anyone right now that's ever felt that way. That is 200% not your only option. You have so many beautiful paths that you can't see yet because you're not ready. And until you let down that wall, until you let yourself believe that you living can be good, basically, you aren't going to be able to see those options. If you're someone who's suffered with thoughts like that ever, I would strongly, strongly so suggest that you just go and talk to somebody. It's not weird. It's not like you think it's going to be at all. Make sure you find someone whose values line up with you. I didn't just pick this person at random. We had a whole list of people, and they had like their values and things. Like, for instance, if you're Christian, you can look and find someone who's Christian. If you're not Christian, and you don't want somebody who's going to tell you Bible verses, you can look for that. If you want a male, a female, someone who specializes in this or this, they have it all. And I just so suggest that anyone who's ever dealt with depression or suicidal thoughts or self-harm or anything like that, just go and talk to someone, even if you only go once, and see what it's like. It's really important. I'm going to take a drink. I've been talking a long time. Okay. Whew. Okay, so we got through this. I guess, the overall big theme is just that things get better, no matter what it is, no matter how small or how serious. things get better if you allow them to get better, if you allow yourself to believe that they can get better. Basically, when I was shutting myself down, I was saying, you know, I've already had the best, there's nothing else better for me out there. And here I am months later, and I'm like, wow, my life is opening up in so many wonderful ways. I have a new job. I'm working 2 jobs. I love it. I just got my own apartment. I move in this weekend. I'm so excited. As soon as I get things like set up nicely, I'll do like an apartment tour, because it's my first apartment that's going to be all mine. No boys to mess anything up. I'm just so excited. You know, my life with my family's better. My life with my friend family's better. It's just all the way. Really? Get out of the camera. She just, I don't know what her deal is today. You can talk? So yeah, basically everything gets better, and it can always get better if you let it. If you are dealing with something like this right now, reach out to me, reach out to a friend, reach out to your family, reach out to somebody, just let them know, hey, these are the feelings I'm feeling. These are pretty serious, and I don't know what to do. Because that was kind of the big thing, was that I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what direction to go in. I didn't know how to make it any better. So I just wanted to give up because it was hard. But just from that first session, I knew, you know, at least now I have a direction that I can kind of move in and go in and work from there, and that helped me a lot. So I really hope this video kind of makes sense, and kind of, I hope I got all the important parts. Please feel free, if you have questions or you want to message me or talk to me, feel free to do that. I'm going to ignore anything that's just clearly trolls or just people that just don't understand what depression is like, basically. I used to be one of those people, so you're free to have your own opinion, but I'm not going to respond. This is really just, I want to put myself out there, as I do a lot in my life and in things that are upsetting that happen. I want to use that bad circumstance to reach out to other people and maybe prevent someone else from having something similar or from feeling a similar way. You know, I've made a few friends from this, you know, people that have messaged me and said, wow, I watched this video, it really hit home for me, like, this is something that's happened to me too. Or, you know, when I posted that video, that god-awful video where I'm crying about the breakup, a girl messaged me and she's like, you know, I'm going through a breakup too, like, can we just talk? And so from that moment, we had each other as a support system, and that's great. That's all I want. I just want to be able to reach through here and like hug people. I reach with my fingers, that's weird, but like hug people and just be like, you know, I'm here and I went through it too, and you don't have to be alone. Because I feel like in so many of my darkest, I say that because I sound so dramatic, but in all seriousness, in so many of my darkest moments, I've felt so alone. And I think that's kind of been my sole reason, although I love making beauty videos and talking about silly things. My biggest passion has been always to, thanks Car, to talk about realness and real things, and things that aren't easy to talk about, and things that, you know, people commonly feel alone because they're not talked about. And I am in no way, shape, or form proud of this story, of this event that happened, but if I can take my low moment and talk to you about it and kind of dissect it and open it up for research, if you will, that's what I'm going to do. Because take what's happened to me, take it and just learn so that you don't have to. I'm just philandering. I'm just babbling on at this point, but I love you guys so much. Thank you for all of your continued support. That breakup video that I talked about, oh my god, I got so much support on that video, and I can honestly say that that was a huge step for me and in my recovery, just having that overwhelming support and people, you know, just getting where I was coming from, and I wasn't crazy and all of that. Just thank you guys so much. Thank you so much to all of my friends who I know watch, and thank you for being there for me. You guys were obviously huge in my support system. Thank you for understanding the situation and for not shunning me or making me feel like I'm a freak. My friends, I could start crying if I really got into it, and I don't want to cry off all my makeup. But my friends were just 500% there for me, and I had friends that would text me and check on me every single day, and, you know, I had friends that later just, I have fucking amazing friends. That's all I have to say. I know who my real friends are. You always find out in times of turmoil who your real friends are, and I definitely know who my real friends are, and I am so very blessed and just fortunate to have these wonderful people in my life, and I love all of you guys. I love you if I haven't met you. If you're new, please hit subscribe. I'm hopefully going to be coming out with more videos. They're going to be like this, but hey, I'm going to film, so that's what's important, and I love you guys so much, and I'll see you next time.